Hello and welcome back. So by now you've opened up Revit 2024. Revit is a program built by Autodesk and it is used in most architectural and engineering firms in the United States today. There are others out there that are similar to this that are used in other countries, but this is the industry standard for the United States. So we're going to do a little quick overview of it and then we'll get started. So what you're seeing is a little different on your screen than mine. This area up here is for recent files. So these are projects done in the past that you can quickly access. What you'll see are the sample projects that allow you to kind of look around and get ideas and kind of just see how things work. They're meant there to be teaching tools for you. Down below that is the families. Now families are things that go with inside the program. So when we make a wall, every wall is part of the walls family, and every piece of furniture is part of a furniture family. And your appliances are part of the appliance families, and there's plant families. There's anything you can think of being inside of a building, there's a family for it, and it all belongs. Now, what we're going to look at here is on the left side, you can open a prior project, or you can start a new one. You can open and edit a family that you've used or create a new one. We're actually going to start a new file. So we're going to go File New because it's a new project. And it's going to bring up this little window that lets you choose from either imperial or metric projects. So imperial is feet and inches, which is what we use in the United States. So that's what they use. But we're not going to use one of the provided templates. We are going to browse, and your instructor should have informed you now to have downloaded the template from Canvas. And then you want to make sure that you have saved that on your OneDrive account in a folder for this class. That is, everything for this class goes in that folder. Everything. So anytime we make a new material, a paint color, a change in the project, everything goes inside that file. Okay, it's got to all be collected and kept together. So I'm going to go and browse to mine right now. And that's going to be, you have to do this a little backward here. Go to our OneDrive and to my location. And there is my template. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to talk about this. I'm opening this one, the one that has the numbers, the .0001. That is a backup file. Always open the file that does not have numbers. Okay, again, this is the file. This is the one with the numbers is the backup. If you open the backup, you will never make progress. You'll then keep losing days. So make sure it's one without the numbers. So open that up. We're going to do a new project, so we hit OK. As it loads up for a minute, we got time to make sure everything's ready to go. And your file will always open in the 3D view. So this is your 3D view. The cube here represents your model space area. That can be adjusted and increased, so don't worry about that. This little set of information here needs to stay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the cube and I'm going to roll it around. So that's how you can navigate this. Or you can just click on the cube and it'll take you to the view. So now I'm looking straight on front. And these values here that you do not delete are the elevation markers for your house. So where's the main floor? Where's the second floor? Where's the ceilings? Where's the windows? Everything's kind of pre-set up for you, okay? So don't delete these. We'll look at a little bit later how to adjust them to use them. But right now we want to just get familiar with that, okay? Now, when you're in 3D or 2D, using your mouse has become important. So first off, your left button is your select button. That lets you select things. There's a right button, that's your enter key. There's a roller. Now, if you push that roller away from you, so roll away, that zooms in. If you roll towards you, you're zooming out. If you push it in, you're in pan mode, which lets you move the drawing so you can just find different parts of the drawing without doing a lot of zooming in and out. Okay. Now, what we're going to look at here across the top are the tabs. So each tab takes you a different aspect of Revit. The one we'll use primarily is the architectural tab, which has the family links for doors and walls and windows and components, and commotes are everything that are not doors, walls, and windows, columns, roofs, ceilings, floors, ramps, and stairs. All of that is all on the creation side of things. We also have model lines and text, and we'll use these as needed. And over here is your room tags. So naming your rooms, putting the area down, the size, the square footage, all that takes place right here. The next one, the structure tab, we use that when we get to the foundation of the building. So that's where you have your beams, your foundation walls, column supports, floors, footings are all over in this area under the foundation. So that we'll get to a little bit later. You have steel, this is used by your engineers, your precast concrete elements, systems, which is your electrical, your plumbing, your HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, and cooling, your fire sprinkler systems, your anything that works within the house or the building. You have insert, which lets you bring in files from other types of programs so they can be part of your file. Annotate is your text and your dimensioning, how you note everything on the drawing so it can be used to be built. We have analysis, where you can figure out the weight of the building, how much wind it can take, how much earthquake force can be on it. Mass and site is the site plan. So we have our soil, contouring or topography, you have your landscaping, you have components in there like park benches and street lamps and mailboxes and fire hydrants and things like that. Parking, if you're doing a commercial element, we can collaborate by connecting your file to somebody else and you can work on it together. Your view, if you get lost, you need to come back and change your view. You can go back to your 3D view. You have your camera view and your walkthrough views. We'll look at how you render it, how do you put cloud rendering in place. Your manage is kind of your settings. So here's where you make new materials and new paint colors. We'll look at this a little bit later as we get to fine-tuning some detailing. Add-ins are apps that you can attach to Revit to make it do different things, to make it more customizable for you. And modify is the second tab we'll use a lot. This is where all the edits come to play. So your edits are things like measuring the distance or adding a dimension to it. We can create new elements here. We can pin something so it can't be moved. We can split it with a gap or just cut it. We can change the scale or the size of something. We can make an array, meaning a multiple repeat along a set pattern. And that can be a rectangular or plural or a polar. We can trim. We can delete. We can mirror things over an existing element or create a line to mirror them about. We have corner trim, rotate, offset and parallel lines, copy, align things up so they're perfectly square, move. Over here we have things like split the face if we're doing paint color. Here we can do paint, add paint color to something, demolish, cope. This one right here we use with roofs, it's join or unjoin a roof line. But we'll look at each of these as a little more depth as we need to as we create our floor plan. If you look down, if you look to the left, the first box you have here is properties. So if I want to know the properties of something, I can click on it. It'll tell me this is a level marker. It's at 1/4 inch. And it's a head title. And it gives me the length or the height of the elevation is 20 foot 2 5/8 of an inch off the main zero line. And it tells me that's the upper level top plate, the top of the topmost wall. And then gives me some code to worry about. Okay. So I can learn about things by just clicking on the properties. Below is the browser, and the browser is set up for each of the levels. Your house can only have 3 levels. You can have a basement, a main floor, and a second floor. Now there's ways to cheat that. We call them mezzanines or partial floors. But the thing that governs is from the ground to the topmost part of your house can only be 35 feet. And that has to do with the length of fire truck ladders. Is they are 70 feet. And if we have a 35 foot by 35 foot triangle, then the hypotenuse on that tends to be what we're looking at is that 70 foot angle to make sure that we're not causing problems to the firefighters. They prefer that if we are fighting a fire to do it from the roof down. So if they can get up on the roof, they prefer that, but they do worry about the length of that ladder being able to reach the top of the roof. So if you're 35 feet high, then you have to be a certain distance from the house in order for that to happen, and that might be too close. So anyway, TRIG's important. If you haven't taken it, learn it. So your first things we have up here is our structural plans. Those are things that carry the weight of the building. We have floor plans. That's the main part we'll be worried about. Then you have ceiling plans. Please don't get these plans mixed up. Keep track of them. Now, yours is probably labeled as lower level floor line or basement level. You can name this whatever you want. So if you want to change the name, you just right click and you can rename it. And just like in anything, double click on it and we can take out the word maybe level. And so it's just basement floor line or basement floor. But you can change the names to what you want. They only affect your drawing. They don't affect everybody else's. Okay. Now, what I'd like you to do is really go to the main level floor line. So if I main level floor line, make sure you're in floor plans, main level floor line, double click with your left mouse, and this is your floor line. There's that boundary you saw earlier that we need to keep. Again, please don't delete that. It causes a little bit of grief. These guys here, 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 and here are your elevation markers. They're cameras. So this is the north elevation. Sorry, this is south elevation, north elevation, east, and west. Okay, that's how they're all set up. If you click on one, they have this line. That is anything, in this case, to the left of the line, you will see in the camera. Anything to the right, you will not. They can be moved. Okay, that means that if your house is halfway in, halfway out, you're going to see inside the house. So if you move them, they can be moved back, but they can be helpful in seeing things that you're working with. Okay, so we're ready to start. So what I need you to do now is we're going to stop the video here. You're going to get the printed copy of the main level floor plan or the floor plan 3,000 square foot house that we're working on. You then want to copy that with you every single time we work on this as a reference to make sure we get everything right. And we are ready to start using Revit to create the walls. And what we're going to do is we're going to create the walls first. Then we'll come back and we'll do doors. Then we'll do the windows. And then we'll start putting in all of the different components that make up the house. And we'll get this all dressed up and ready to go. Alrighty, so at this point, you're going to end the video and make sure you got everything ready. Have Revit loaded, and it should be ready to go, and we'll start right when we get back. All right, next video.